Hi, my name is Blaine Monaghan, and I'm the president and CEO of Pacific Ridge Exploration. We are focused on copper gold porphyry projects in BC, and we are one of the province's leading critical metals exploration companies. We trade on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the symbol PEX, Papa Echo X-ray.
Blaine, good to see you. Been a while. How are you?
It has been.
Yeah, yeah. A while on since Crux, and it's certainly a while, even longer since we spoke. Tough markets out there for junior explorers. There's a disconnect between gold and copper prices and equities at the moment. How are you surviving?
I'm not going to say it's been easy because that would be a lie. It has been extremely challenging, but I have great faith in our projects and our team, and we continue to move forward. So we've been very fortunate to continue to be able to access capital, the capital required to advance our projects. And we're looking forward to launching our inaugural drill program at Chuchi, which is going to be starting up in the next several weeks.
Chuchi, I better be careful how I pronounce that. Let's just kind of quick skim of the portfolio for people perhaps new to the story and sort of leaning into this. Okay, so we're kind of copper gold in its exploration. You're hunting for this stuff. You got Kliyul, RDP, Radisson, Onjo. Am I pronouncing that properly? Okay. So what are you doing with all of those? Because sometimes sort of small companies, big portfolios look exciting, but it's also have financial commitments and requirements and service those. So how are you playing the portfolio?
Absolutely. And that's a really good point. I mean, at some points in time, these assets, these projects are assets and sometimes they become liabilities. So you need to make sure that you have the capital required to advance them and keep them in good standing. So we're very fortunate in that respect. So our Kliyul, which is our flagship, even though we're not drilling this year, we're doing a ZTEM survey right now to help refine some deeper targets. We own that 100%, and we've spent close to $20 million there since acquiring it in 2020. So the claims are in good standing for over a decade. So we don't actually need to do any work there. But as I said, it is still our flagship. We are refining targets. We do want to get back there and continue to drill it. RDP was under option to Antofagasta, and essentially they completed the work required for us to own it 100%. So we now own RDP 100%. And again, because of the work they completed, the claims are in good standing for over a decade. So those are two great projects to own 100% with claims in good standing for a decade. They've returned fantastic numbers. I think there's the opportunity to continue to grow and expand the mineralization at both projects. Then you have Redton and Onjo. They're earlier stage. The work commitments for both of those projects are not great. So we're actually doing an IP program at Redton, starting up in the next several weeks. And it's only a $100,000 campaign. But again, that's to keep the claims in good standing. Onjo, the claims are in good standing. And of course, with Chuchi, where we're looking to launch our inaugural drill program, that is the only project we do not own 100%. We option that from Centerra. And that's why we're electing to drill Chuchi this year, say, versus Kliyul, because Kliyul, as I said, we own it 100%. Claims are in good standing. We have to make exploration expenditure requirements at Chuchi this year to keep the agreement in good standing. But that's not the principal reason why we're drilling it. We just think it offers fantastic discovery opportunity. It has a historic resource. Since we acquired the option in 2022, we've done some IP, we've done ZTEM, and we believe the mineralization is open to depth. So that's what we'll be looking to test at this inaugural drill program. If we can extend, the near surface mineralization. And when I talk about the near surface mineralization, the average drill hole length here historically has only been 150 meters. So we think we can take it a lot deeper. And if we do that and we're successful, I think we have a new discovery. So that's I'm looking forward to that program. It'll be our first ever drill program there, and that's starting up in the next several weeks.
Okay, so let's talk about business models here, because when you're a small company, say circa $10 million or so, with a portfolio approach, you've got optionality in terms of maybe trying to monetize some of these things, or killing off some of these projects. I remove the financial burden that it can be sometimes. Why go for Chuchi? Why do anything on Chuchi? I know you want to own it 100%. Why not put the same money and effort into Kliyul and actually have something of substance moving forward?
Yeah, good point. I would say because right now, when you look at Kliyul, if the targets are likely deeper, and in the Kliyul main zone, I think they are, it's going to be more expensive drilling. So let's do that Z-Temp survey now to help refine those targets. So when we actually get back there and drill, it'll be better targeted, it'll be more efficient. One of the advantages with Chuchi is that it's road accessible, and the season is longer, so it's a cheaper project to drill. Say right now, I would estimate drilling at Kliyul at around $750 a meter all in, and at Chuchi it's going to be about $500 a meter all in. So we can drive right on site. We'll actually be skidding in the rig, so it's just more accessible. It's easier. It's cheaper. And again, I just think it offers great discovery opportunity because really the last significant drill program there was in 1991 actually. So it's been a while.
It's been a while. It has been a while. I think I'm still in school. So okay, you raised some money recently, 1.6, 1.7 million bucks. That's really to kind of primarily get after Chuchi, right? Because you think it could be worth something. Again, we'll come back to the question about how do you manage the portfolio approach. You own 100%. You're in good standing on most of them, but you also need to raise money to survive, to advance the kind of value creation, which is your job, the growth story, however you want to frame it, and maybe 5 projects need to become 3 or 2. I mean, what's the conversation in the boardroom?
Fair point. I don't think you can, give all 5 projects the same level of love and care at the same time. I mean, you have to have a focus. You have to have a flagship. And I would say at the present time, Kliyul is still our flagship, even though we're not drilling it this year. I've always seen the potential where Chuchi could become a flagship.
Right.
I would say honestly, Matt, that if someone were to come along, like an Antofagasta did with RDP, if someone else came along and made an offer on, whether it's a joint venture or acquisition of RDP or Kliyul or any one of our other projects, we would most certainly entertain it. And, we do talk to a number of different companies all the time. I would hope that we'd be able to get someone interested in one of our other projects to help carry that load and continue to advance it while we are focused on a couple of projects.
Right. And if you're, okay, let's kind of broaden it a bit. If you're in BC and your projects are reasonably kind of close to each other, reasonably, and scale that Canada provides, which we Brits can't even conceive to understand, but relatively close to each other. Are there many copper projects in BC that work? Because it's kind of the grades are on the lower end. I know you guys talk about copper equivalents, etc. So there's a bit of copper, there's a bit of gold. There's both kind of low grade amounts, but maybe the recoverables make it worth the while. But are you chasing the right stuff in BC?
I think so, especially where we are. So when you think about, and you're right, I mean, the distances up here are vast. And I mean, you can be driving for hours and not see a single soul, maybe a couple bears, but that's about it. So, but we are in the right part of the world, especially in BC. We're in the Quesnel Terrane, and basically the Quesnel Terrane is north-south. It runs almost the entire length of BC. We're in the northern part of the Quesnel Terrane. And the northern part of the Quesnel Terrane, hosts Mount Milligan, which is currently in production, copper gold porphyry mine owned by Centerra. Our Chuchi actually is only 35 kilometers away from that, and that's why the infrastructure is quite good. There's some very good roads in that area, and we can drive right onto the project site. Kliyul is further north of Chuchi and Mount Milligan, and it's just south of the past-producing chemist. So even though that's more expensive to explore because it's further north and it is helicopter accessible, again, it's only 6 kilometers off that road and power that serve chemists to the north. So we are most certainly in the right area. And infrastructure, although not ideal, is pretty good for this part of the world. And the BC provincial government and the federal government continues to make expenditures to improve infrastructure in this part of the world also. So it's not as easy as Nevada, but it's a lot better than a lot of other places too, especially because I mean the service providers are used to operating in this area. So it can be more expensive, but again, it can work with those sort of grades.
It's kind of interesting when you're sort of deciding, like that's why I'm kind of getting to the point of why I pick on Chuchi, because great grade. People talk about grade is king, and it doesn't necessarily isn't always the case because there's a multitude of variables which affect the economics, right? So I say infrastructure maybe not quite there, but it's getting there. So one day this becomes more valuable. One hopes, but in terms of like going in for Chuchi versus another project which you could have gone for, why do you think that this could be a flagship project in the way that you believe Kliyul is? Why not go somewhere else? Why not aim for higher grades or an easier, I don't know, an easier opportunity?
I get you. I think the thing is nothing's easy anymore. There is no easy. It's all hard, right? It's just a matter of where you want to be on the risk profile for any one of the hundreds of risks that exist in exploration. So I'm pretty comfortable in BC. I very much understand what the grade profile might need to be. I'm very cognizant on the infrastructure side. I understand that your costs are going to be slightly higher. There's going to be seasonality issues, but I also believe that there's great potential for that discovery and to outline something of size, because porphyry exploration in BC, really over the last 15 years, we haven't seen a great deal until more recently. So I think there's wonderful opportunity to make these new discoveries and actually outline some bigger opportunities in an environment where there's more support from the government on the critical metal side, and also the investments in infrastructure. And then, of course, you partner that with, or couple that with all the various mid-tiers and seniors looking to will diversify their geographic portfolio. And we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot more activity in BC. So yeah, I'm very happy with BC. It's not without its challenges, but I'm comfortable with the risks here. And I think, say, an opportunity like Chuchi, with the grades it has, being close to an existing mine with the infrastructure is a very good risk-reward opportunity.
Right. Okay. So coming back to what you said earlier about sending offers and so forth, I just understand how difficult it is. No, there's nothing easy anywhere anymore. It seems, but the money is the expensive bit. The money is the killer or the thriller. So you've got to work out ways of getting money as the company in the cheapest possible way, right? And then do something great with it. Like if I look at Kliyul, I mean, what depths are we talking about in terms of this kind of? You want to go deeper, but where are we at the moment in terms of depth?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Say last year we drilled over 10,000 meters at Kliyul. It was our biggest campaign at the project. It's the biggest drill campaign ever, and we materially increased the mineralized extents. The last hole of last year's campaign intersected the deepest mineralized interval ever, and indicated to us that we could just be above the porphyry center. Now, that's what we believe based on the geology, but we can't see that. So that our geophysical models don't go that deep. And again, that's why we want to do the Z-Temp to see deeper. And if that's the case, then you want to drill deeper and get into that. That's a potential for even higher grade mineralization. Might be deeper, but if you could be starting with, again, any sort of these situations for, say, block cave mining, you've got to have an open pit first before you can get deep, right? And that could be an opportunity there. If indeed the Z-Temp search shows us a deeper target just below that interval, then we're going to get back in there and drill deeper. Absolutely.
I didn't hear a number. Sorry, what was the number?
So that interval, we got it at, I believe it was at 565 meters in depth, and it was about a 45 meter interval of close to a 0.6 copper equivalent, and ended in mineralization. So that was the last hole, and we just had to shut it down because we were out of time, we were out of money. It was time to move on.
Okay, and in terms of like you just start with an open pit. I'm just trying to sort of create a sort of a simple version of what the options are in front of you. So if you talk about, if you see something deeper, if you drill deeper, starting with an open pit, what are you talk about block caving specifically there. That's where you think you've got to go. The mineralization wasn't there sort of in the shallow zones.
I think we can improve our grade profile. And so when we look at the last, the last 3 holes of last year's campaign were probably some of the most important drill holes we've returned, actually, because one of the holes, hole 67, was drilled in Kliyul main zone west, and it returned, basically 100 meters of essentially a % copper equivalent, and that remains open underneath that interval. So I think that we can continue to find higher grade copper gold porphyry mineralization laterally and at depth. And that's what these surveys are going to help us do. So when we think about size right now, I mean, Kliyul is now 760 meters east-west, 600 meters north-south, and up to 650 meters deep. So I think it's there for the size. When we first started, I would have said I was very comfortable with the grade. We need to increase the size. And now I'm saying I'm very comfortable with the size. We need to increase the grade profile again. And I think that's what these surveys are going to help us do, is help target that higher grade mineralization for future drill.
We've spoken to lots of junior companies that have had to just think about their business model and change things up a bit, not kind of build out a massive gold project or a massive, copper projects generally are huge. But maybe look at a kind of a sort of starter story, a starter nearer term revenue type of model where, and that's great if you've got the optionality. With something like this, that's probably not going to be within your wheelhouse to do. So what are you going to have to demonstrate to a partner, strategic partner, however you want to frame it, to allow them to make that kind of decision about the potential of what you're looking at here? What data are you seeking?
I think it's exactly what we're doing. I think based on the conversations we've already had with various mid-tiers and seniors, they're looking for this to continue to get bigger and increase the grade profile. And I think the smartest way for us to do that and to demonstrate that is through the surveys we're doing right now. I mean, that's the lowest risk way to demonstrate, to say, hey, listen, we've already conducted, close to 20,000 meters of drilling at Kliyul, and we've materially increased the mineralized extents of the Kliyul main zone, and we believe it's open in a number of different directions, and we believe that we can increase the grade profile, and these surveys are a way to demonstrate that. So I'm hopeful that the results of the Z10 survey might be enough to get someone to say, okay, I see, I've been following you, I'm watching, I've seen what you've been trying to accomplish. And now, based on these results, I agree with your thesis, and we'd like to get involved.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so Chi, just tell me more. So, how did you pick that up? Where did you find it?
I'd say we've had a pretty long-standing relationship with Centerra Gold. I mean, we originally acquired Kliyul and Redton from Centerra. They had a number of exploration projects in BC. I would say that Kliyul and Chuchi were 2 of the best that they had. So in our quest to become one of BC's leading copper gold exploration companies, we've been continuing to look for assets, and we were aware of Chuchi, and we had tried to get our hands on it previously, weren't unable to, but we kept talking and kept revisiting, and then they were ultimately open to a deal. So, we first struck our deal for Kliyul and Redton in 2020, and we struck this deal for Chuchi in 2022.
And in terms of the cost of that, your obligations before you...
Yeah, essentially it's almost all exploration spend. So we have to spend $5 million over 5 years to get to 51, and then $5 million over 3 years to get to 75. And there's small cash, small share payments, almost not material.
Right. Are you on track for that?
That's why I wanted to make sure we drilled Chuchi this year. So we need to have spent $2.4 million by May of next year. So the work we've done plus this drill program will keep the agreement in good stead.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And so just tell me what's going to happen. But by the end of this year, you're going to have spent. So remind me how much money I'm doing what?
At the end of this, we've already spent a little over $600,000 at Chuchi for IP and Z10, and this drill program is budgeted at $1.8 million. And we plan to be drilling about slightly over 3,000 meters. So our dollar goes a lot further here It's closer to communities. It's, as I said, you can drive on. You don't even need to construct drill pads because you can just skid in the rig. I love that. I mean, I love low cost drilling or lower cost. After being involved in a helicopter supported program, this budget's much more attractive.
Right. Okay. Well, look, that's kind of interesting. Okay. Well, look, that's a nice little update. So in terms of money, you raise the money to be able to do what you need to do. What about the share register in terms of, obviously, it's been a tricky 2.5 years or so for you guys, because you were sort of by the beginning, end of 2021, life was looking
great,
good, looking great all the way up there. And now it's not quite like that anymore.
Come back to
so
Earth.
In terms of, yeah, so remind you. Like a lot of people in the same boat. This is not an unusual conversation, but I'm more interested in how people get themselves, well, let's like, one, stay in the game, but two, kind of move forwards. And I got the plan and the story today. But in terms of that share register and how it's changed, obviously a lot of people are sort of sitting on stock they don't want to perhaps recognize or realize the losses that they may have incurred. That presents another set of challenges. Should everything go, well through the drill bit, where people, there's a big overhang there potentially for you guys. I know you're conscious of that.
Matt, that's a great question to raise, because I think the overhang has already gone because some of the largest shareholders exited. And that's one of the reasons why we've been under so much pressure. So
Interesting. Who were they? They were obviously in from when?
Well, I'll only discuss what's been reported. So Prescat was a major shareholder, and they sold their entire position in several days. So they own, more than 19%, and they sold, more than 20 million shares in the space of several days. So that put a lot of downward pressure on the stock.
Yeah.
We move on. So, I mean, that's the one.
When was that? When was that selling?
That was just in May. Yeah. So
this year.
Yep.
Oh, that's the drop.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
So one of the positive things with that, or if there is a silver lining, is that there was the buying there. There were people looking at this saying, okay, I'll buy it here. This looks great. I like the team. I like the projects. They have the money. They're moving forward.
Yeah, I think who you have on your share register is really important. So I guess there's lots of upside to that having happened.
And then one other thing, and I don't want to harp on too much about all these various things, but on the capital side, this is also very important for us Canadian companies too. It's our flow through dollars. Now, I'm not a big fan of flow through, but if that is the only capital available to continue to move your projects forward, then you take it. And we've had to take flow through financings more recently, and what you're getting. I mean, that these people will be around for maybe a year, 2 max, but ultimately those shares are going to come back at you. So you have to have enough success to get through that. But that's just always another sort of, ultimately, you're going to see selling pressure from that too.
And let's not talk about the warrant game as well. Yeah, okay.
I'm not even thinking about the warrant game.
Oof. So too many games out there.
It's been challenging.
And you got to know the rules. You got to know the rules.
All you can do is just keep moving forward, and that's my job here. It's just
there you go. Good attitude, and luck through the drill bit.
You get the darkness till it bleeds daylight.
You have a good attitude. Well, I'd like to say, best luck with the Chichi project and the drilling, etc. Let's see what happens with the ZTEM as well. And I'm sort of intrigued to sort of see how you do move this forward, keep moving forward. So appreciate your time today, Blaine. I
Thanks,
really do.
Appreciate it.
Speak to you soon.
Yeah, good luck. Talk to you. Bye.